Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 219 for October 6th through the 12th. This week, we saw a series of contrasting stories surrounding investment in women's rugby. On one hand, England and Ireland are making big moves with new funding and strategic plans. On the other hand, Australia is facing heavy criticism for significant budget cuts and a key staff resignation. We also saw some great on-field action with the Kenya Lionesses winning the Safari Sevens and new seasons in domestic leagues across the US, Wales, Hong Kong, France, and Canada continuing to heat up. I'm Wendy, here to bring you the latest in women's rugby news. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. We'll start with International 15's news. The big investments is the headline for us this week. England is launching a new 5-year plan, Every Row's Our Time, to build on its World Cup victory. The ambitious goals include winning back-to-back Rugby World Cups, growing the game revenue to £60 million, and increase the number of female players from 60,000 to 100,000 by 2030. Across the Irish Sea, Ireland is celebrating a new government funding package. Of the €750,000 increase, $500,000 will go directly to building a high-performance pathway for women's rugby. Now we'll contrast this all with Australia. The women's rugby program is facing a major setback after a reported 25 budget cut led to the resignation of high-performance manager Jamie Fernandez. This is the country that's going to host the next Rugby World Cup in 2029. They're cutting funding. It's shocking. This has led to strong criticism from many in the rugby community, including columnist Alice Sopper, who argues that Rugby Australia is creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of underperformance just as the country prepares to host the 2029 World Cup. In an attempt to project a more positive image, the union has since appointed a new interim coaching team and is promising a fully resourced program with a minimum of 10 test matches a year. Cleaning it up with that shovel as fast as they can, right? They don't love that negative press, so trying to cover it up as quickly as they can. The Springbok women are riding a wave of success after a record-breaking World Cup run. Their quarterfinal match against New Zealand set a new broadcast record with nearly 500,000 live viewers, and total viewership has surged by over 300% in the last year. The team is carrying that momentum forward with head coach Swiss de Bruin officially staying on to lead the team to the next World Cup. In other news, toy giant Mattel has unveiled a new Team Barbie to celebrate International Day of the Girl, featuring 4 female rugby players: Alona Mar from the USA, Ellie Kildun of England, New Zealand's Portia Woodman-Wickliffe, and France's Nasira Conde. The company is using these dolls to inspire girls to stay in sports and will release a special edition Alona Mar doll in 2026. This doll will feature an entirely new body sculpt to reflect a more muscular, athletic build, but the new design has already drawn some criticism from fans who feel it doesn't accurately represent a rugby player's body. Now let's hop over to International Sevens news. The Kenya Lionesses secured a major win on home soil at the 2025 Safari Sevens, successfully defending their title with a thrilling 14-10 victory over Uganda in the women's final. The Costa Blanca Barbarians took home the bronze. Now we'll take a look at domestic and club news. And a major development for the sport, the Premiership Women's Rugby, PWR, has signed a landmark 4-year broadcast deal with Limitless. The partnership will provide live coverage of every single PWR match, with 1 game a week on TNT Sports, another on BBC iPlayer, and the rest streamed on the PWR YouTube channel. This deal aims to boost visibility and create new opportunities for female commentators and production staff. In the Welsh Premiership, the league standings got a shakeup after some huge wins in round 4, with 4 teams now tied on points. The top of the table is a very tight race. In round 2 of the BC Premier League, 2 teams got off to a hot start. Mariloma defeated the Castaway Wanderers 41-7, and Burnaby Lake beat Seattle 36-10. Both teams earned bonus points and now sit tied at the top of the table. The French AXA Elite 1 League kicked off its new season with an eventful opening weekend. ASA Romagna had a dominant 49-7 win over Villanova. This leaves ASM Romagna in first place, with Blagnac and Toulouse close behind. In Scotland's Arnold Clark Premiership, the top 4 teams are set for the next stage of the competition after the final round. Stirling County remains the team to beat after a decisive 88-11 win, while a nail-biting 25-24 victory for Corstorphine over Hillhead Jordan Hill secured their spot. In a dramatic round 2 of the Nan Phung Group Airside Premiership, Society Generale Valley had a historic 100-0 victory over Kowloon, keeping their perfect record intact. Meanwhile, Natixie's Ice also remained undefeated after a 22-7 win over Gaiwu Falcons. With these results, both Society Generale Valley and Natixie's Ice are now tied at the top of the table. In the latest USA Club League shakeup, several teams are on top of their divisions. We'll start with the Gulf Coast region. Frontier, there's not an official table in RX, but Due to a demand from the people, we've provided a manual calculation and black ice leads. In D2, Carolina's Augusta overtook Savannah for third in the West, and in the East, Fear the Maniacs went from third to first, and Eno River went from fifth to fourth, while Southern Pine Celts from last to fifth. In D3, Gulf Coast True South, Chattanooga took over first place in the North, and Battleship leads in the South. Now for the Atlantic, D1, Nova continued to lead while Boston dropped from 4th to 7th. In D2 Capital, James River took over first place. EPRU, Phoenixville made moves, and they're in first place now. D3 NERFU, North Shore leads, but Amaskeg, help us with that pronunciation, moved from 4th to 2nd. In Empire, Union leaped into first place. Village Lions went from 4th to 2nd. Capital, in the Central, Frederick overtook Baltimore for first, and in the South, Roanoke remains in first place. EPRU, York and Lancaster made moves again this week, moving from 3rd to 1st, and Philly went from 4th to 2nd. In the Northern Region, D1 Midwest Premiership, and in D2, we continue to struggle with these rankings in RX. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not, so we're doing our best, and we are working with your reps to make sure we've got this right. In the Midwest Premiership Eastern, Pittsburgh Forge continues to lead. In Western, Metropolis Valkyries lead. And then we'll hop to D2 Midwest. In the Eastern, Cleveland Iron Maidens. Western, Milwaukee Scylla. Northern, Rochester Renegades are on top. And then in the Central League, Fort Wayne continues to lead there. Rocky Mountain, we know they're playing, but again, there's nothing in RX. We've done our own calculation. We believe that Salt Lake City Slugs lead, but there are 3 teams that have 15 points. In Mid-America, St. Louis Sabres are in first. In the Pacific region, play hasn't started yet. Some will start in the fall, but most of it will start in the spring, so we won't have updates for a bit on those teams. And finally, over the next few weeks, we'll be sharing a comprehensive look at all of the major domestic women's rugby competitions around the world. If you listen to WRR or watch it, you'll already know this information, but we want to make sure that all of our new fans know what rugby is happening because there's lots. These are the leagues where you'll find your favorite World Cup stars are heading back to play. Never miss one of our episodes. WRR is available anywhere you get your podcasts from.